Just me.
Everything's set up. Battery will probably last for 10 minutes. If it goes out, we'll just swap it quick. Otherwise, hopefully get it done before that.
Okay.
Your audio's good.
Audio's good, all right.
If we go off on tangents, I really don't care. Just want to see if we answer a few of these questions you came up
Okay.
with. Start out, if you could just state, your name. How many years have you been, say, OWEN?
I've been OWEN for 5 years or 6 years, maybe 6.
About 6.
Long enough where I could have had like a child that would be old enough to go to school by now.
Okay.
Yeah.
First, so you've had a lot of projects, but from the first OWEN album, you played all the instruments, correct?
Yeah.
Being that you're multi-talented in that facet, what was the first thing you learned growing up?
Instrument?
Yeah.
Or just in general, first thing I learned?
Instrument.
Instrument, a guitar, I think. Well, I took piano lessons in 3rd grade for a couple months.
Okay.
And then I remember I took piano lessons, Tim took guitar lessons. And then we both stopped and realized that we didn't like the lessons part of it. But so we had instruments around the house, I guess. But actually started writing songs or something. Maybe I was in 7th grade playing guitar, 7th or 8th grade. And then I joined Tim's band playing guitar. And then the drummer quit, so I moved to drums. I was like, oh, I'll play drums, so I bought a drum set.
Which band was that?
Well, there's a band called Toe Jam at the time.
Okay.
And then when I moved to drums, we called it Cap and Jazz, and that's when Cap and Jazz started.
And then from then, American football wasn't too far after?
That was college, so Cap and Jazz would be high school, and then American football would be the last 2 years of college, probably.
Okay, and then we were looking in, have you played a little bit with the Woha? Did you help anything? Or?
Yeah, I played a tour just playing guitar for not even a tour, maybe a week or so of shows. 3 or 4, maybe.
So I found something with these bands kind of interesting is you guys definitely have really interesting time signatures and things switch all the time. Is there, whose inspiration is that in this?
And I don't know. I guess I surround myself with people who appreciate that. You know what I mean? I don't have any beer up there? Oh, really?
I guess the same thing.
I don't know. We had one back here, one case for all the bands, and we were kind of laughing it's not that much beer for all the bands, but
Okay, guys, water it down. Let's make it last.
yeah. So we've been diluting it, yeah.
So I think it just cut off just a tiny bit at the end, but it's you and kind of picking your musical ventures that bring about that timing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think I definitely am attracted to that. It's still, I don't know, it's still interesting to me, as opposed to just a real straight song.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, Aloha has been doing that already, and the other people that I've played with have been doing that. You know what I mean? It's not I don't think I bring that necessarily, but I think I appreciate it, so I surround myself with people who appreciate it.
And would it be fair to say that kind of carried over to the guitars in American football?
Sure.
Not
Yeah.
just on the
Well, I think that
guitars?
was probably when it was sort of that's when it was probably the peak of let's just, I'll play in different time signature than you and they'll see what happens. You know what I mean? That was sort of experimenting. It was kind of like any kid in grade school, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example, what you figure something out and so you try to experiment with it, you know what I mean, to see where it goes. But it's not like you're actually doing anything new, but it's new to you, so it's interesting, so.
Okay. So American football, went different ways, and you decided to go solo. What is it that your solo artist says, OWEN brings? What does it bring to the table that American football didn't, or is that fair to say?
Well, I mean, I don't have to go to band practice ever.
Yeah.
And I don't have to split the money at the end of the night ever. Not that American football ever got paid for a show, but I don't want to distinguish between American football and any other band I've been in, and then going solo. I feel like I sort of do what I do on my own because it's just what comes out on my own. You know what I mean? And when we do every couple of years, I still kind of get together with Joan of Arc or something and collaborate. And it usually comes out totally different than an OWEN record. So.
I was a little nervous in the back when you were up on stage and you said something about who wants to wrestle.
Oh.
I just remember Jonah Barclays.
Oh, let's wrestle.
Come on, play it.
No, I'm not that clever. It didn't even cross my mind. I really just felt like wrestling somebody.
And so your first album is OWEN. You recorded at your mother's house.
Mm-hmm.
Did you grow up there, or what was there that was inspiring to you?
I did grow up there, and I don't know. You know, it's sort of like I finished college, and American football had decided to break up, just because two of us are moving back home, and you guys are all in college still, but you'll find out that there's like that transition right after college where like you think you're supposed to do something or something. So I was like, oh, I better make music because that's all I know how to do. And I don't know. I asked Polyvinyl, instead of paying for like recording costs, to just give me the money to buy like recording stuff for the home, you know. And they did, and it worked out good for everybody. I did like except the new album, I did all the records at my mom's, so
okay.
Paid off for them.
With your new CD coming out tomorrow, we've heard a few things that you kind of let stream online and stuff Polyvinyl, but we've listened to Bad News specifically and some others. We've noticed a little, like a slightly more raw voice. Is that fair to say? Or did you do anything different that made it? All the your albums are very soft and it brings you different places. But the first song we ever heard was a little more raw. Not to say that it.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But is that the theme throughout the album, or is it just something you're trying?
Yeah, it's definitely. I like to think of it. It's funny. Like I mean, I in my head, I have all these opinions like how it is or what's different and what's the same and how just even like what it sounds like when I play music in general. But like I think other people hear it. Like through everybody's ears, they take it in different. So to me, like I'll write a song and be like, this song is so great, it sounds just like Jackson Browne. But it's like nobody else would ever think that sounds like Jackson Browne. You know what I mean? But like I'm super satisfied because like, oh, it's so great, So I guess the new album, I was kind of aware that I wanted to be like a little more organic in the sense that like instead of when I record at my mom's house, I sort of have to do everything. I don't know how to explain it. I got to do everything like 100 times to get it to sound how I hear it in my head. But if I go to a studio and then somebody is engineering and who knows what they're doing, they can kind of like with the mic placement and stuff, it's sort of like, okay, do it once, and if you play it good, that's it. You know what I mean? That's the take. So there was a lot more of just like, okay, I played it, that's it, leave it,
Okay.
Instead of like obsessing about little details and stuff. So.
Who should you prefer?
I absolutely prefer the new version, the new way. Yeah, like I think you get so caught up. I mean, like just with Pro Tools in general, and just like being able to edit that easy, like you get so caught up in like the simplest little like panning of something that you don't realize like, oh, this whole song. One's Mom's. That was for Christmas for my mom, and this one's a bomb that I'm gonna get covered up soon.
Mom's Bomb?
No, they weren't supposed to rhyme. That was an accident, actually. I never thought of it. Like, the first time I showed anybody, like, oh, Mom's Bomb. I'm like, no, shit.
Try to offer, see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got a new album coming out tomorrow in stores. Obviously, you got it here tonight. Listen to it on the way back.
Cool.
Give us your best pitch, with At Home with OWEN, because this will be going out to, I think, about roughly 40,000 and 16,000 member students. So, to a college student.
The best pitch?
What do you
My
got?
best pitch would be that I have no pitch.
Okay.
And if you appreciate that, you might like my music.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Cool. Well, that's all we got. Thank you.
That was cool. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
How's working with Polyvinyl?
It's great. It's totally like, I feel like I've watched them grow, so it's like when they were helping me out, but we were both like super just like people hanging out at our house. They're hanging out at their house putting out records and I'm hanging out making music, and now, they have like a whole business.
Yeah.
And then I guess technically I have a business. I make money now, so it's cool. Like,
Yeah, no, all I know about them is basically from your stuff, so.
yeah, I mean they have a couple bands that are like way more popular than I. You know what I mean? Like
They
they're
have-
Mates of State they had for a while, who went on to bigger and better, or bigger things, or different different things, I should say. They're just like, I feel like there's a ceiling, with the label. Like, I feel like there's always like room to grow, but until you like realize how to make that next step, you know what I mean? Like, there's gonna be a ceiling where you're at, and I've seen Polyvinyl like break through that ceiling like 100 times in the past 10 years, so it's great. Like, I mean, they started putting out, they were just putting out like bands that they liked, you know what I mean? Like, and they'd press up like 500 copies and put out 7 inches and stuff. So they were just music fans, and then it happened to pay off for them. So it's great. Yeah, it's so great, right? It's cool.
No, I was just curious.
I know. I didn't think anything else.
What have you been listening to lately? This is always
Jackson Brown a little bit,
classic.
and that new Killers song is so good.
Their new single?
Yeah.
Did you pick up the rest of the album?
No, I haven't downloaded that
Yeah,
yet.
the rest of the album, like he does this thing, the singer, where he tries to sound like The Cure the whole time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Either that or he's just trying to do.
I do like The Cure though. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, my wife was like, "Oh, that new Killer song is so good," and I was like, when I first heard it, I'm just like, whatever, you know what I mean? Just 80s, whatever, you know. But then, like, the second time around, I'm like, this is the greatest song ever. So,
Yeah, no, I like the song too.
Yeah.
The album's a lot different.
yeah, I'll give it a listen.